In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at making a seamless tile pattern. So I grabbed a few images off the internet, and we're going to take a look at them and see if we can use them to create the seamless tile pattern, or if they're already set up correctly that way. Sometimes they say they are. This one says it's seamless, but I'm just going to show you how to check that. I'm going to open these real quickly and take a look. I grabbed some intentionally that I knew had issues. And so this first one, whenever you're grabbing something that you want to use for a seamless pattern, make sure that the camera is straight on. So like this is straight on. Here, we're going back into the distance and we have a shadow. So any little particles or things of that nature are going to interfere with making a seamless pattern. Having a sense of perspective is also an issue. So you don't want to use this. For this one, this looks pretty good, but we actually have something that looks like a reverse vignette. And vignettes are when you have a camera and it gets darker around the edges. It's really done for an artistic look. So with this one, it gets darker in the center. So this would be a little bit of cleanup. This one looks great. You do want to watch and make sure that the lines going across for this corrugated cardboard are straight across. And then little things like this you could clean up. We do have a couple little dots that might be noticeable. There's also a color shift in the center here that when you go and tile this, you can see if this is too noticeable. So we'll take a look at those. This one is one that looks like it's computer generated. And again, we can go and check this and make sure it's really going to work before you go into your 3D software. And this one's nice. There's a little variation here in the brick color that suggests that it is real brick, but it could be computer generated. I'd have to take a real close look to know. This looks good. Again, we have some areas that are going to stand out, and you want to tile this to check it. And just a smaller version of that. So I opened this one, and to test it, I actually have another open. And to test, I'm going to go up here and create a new document. And I'm going to make this 4K by 4K. I want to make it a real large document. Make something large enough to have it tile multiple times, whatever pattern you're bringing in, but not too large where you crash your computer. Now, I have 4,000 by 4,000 pixels. Using a square document is a good idea for your tileable patterns. And I'm just going to create. I'm going to go back, select the object, and then go up under Edit and define pattern. I've already done this for this first one. I'm going to deselect this, go to my new document, go to the paint bucket, and then make sure you're not in foreground but you're in patterns, and then from your list you should see the new pattern created. And just click. And now it's tiled rather nicely, but we do have some areas which are an issue. So I'm going to get a little closer to this, and I'm going to go about 40% in. And we can see how these two bricks are really standing out, and it feels like we have a lighter area of bricks and then a darker area of bricks. So if you're going to have a large area of wall with this pattern, you can see where the errors are, where you're going to have your issues. And maybe you want to go in and crop this into a smaller area. Just grab a couple of these bricks that you think are going to tile very nicely and then rebuild a wall so that you don't have this light streak and a dark streak. So when we come back and we take a look at this, it's these bricks here and then these up here that are giving us our issues. So maybe I would cut here and then reform it with some of these lighter bricks in this dark area. And we'll look at a couple ways of doing this, not with this pattern, but just how to go in and cut up our brick pattern and whatever other rocks or whatever we have. So I'm going to do this again with another and take a look at this one. And it's good to squint when you look at these, like this little area is sticking out. So if I come in and grab this, I'm going to go up and define a pattern. I'm just going to leave the name I'm going to make a new layer above this one. I'm going to come up with my new layer, select it, go up under pattern with my paint bucket selected, and then grab the second pattern and fill this layer. This one really looks good. I'm going to pull back, going back about 15%. I mean, whenever you have a tiled pattern, you're going to see that tile, but this one little white speck is sticking out, and then this darker area is sticking out. So you could zoom in and see if there's anything that you want to fix. I'm going to go to 50% in. Again, this little line is clearly sticking out. We have this darkness here that's a little too much. You can go in and adjust any of these once you make them, but you will always see some sort of little, repetition in there. You're not going to get something that doesn't read at all as a pattern. But you can minimize it. 2 areas, and then I have this stripe of darkness. So we took a look at a couple of them, and we'll take a look at some more of these. This one has a very strong vignette, and this would be something that I would definitely need to fix before I try to tile that. With this one, when you're looking at it here, it looks very straight on. But when I look in the little thumbnail, it almost feels like there's a little bit of perspective on that. So it just tells me that there's going to be a lot more cleanup on this to get this to work. This pattern, again, it's not square. This one's square. If I go to use this one, here we go. I could see a couple little things that may show up. We could see that this has been flipped here and here. So this has already been tiled. So I may want to go and grab a smaller section of this. I have this one. Let's check it. Made a selection. Under Edit, Define Pattern, I'm going to click. The name is fine. I'm going to go to a 4K by 4K document, and then select this pattern. Drop it in. Yeah, this looks really nice. So there are a couple little spots that definitely you may want to work on. But for the most part, this one reads quite nice as a wall pattern.